president of Russia recently visited Beijing to attend a parade commemorating China's victory in World War II. Standing side by side with China's president in front of the marching troops was more than just a symbolic gesture. It set the stage for a strategic leap in energy cooperation. Both nations gave the green light to a massive new gas pipeline project, commonly known as Power of Siberia 2. The goal is to transport gas from fields in western Siberia, crossing through Mongolia, and delivering directly to China's rapidly growing market. In terms of scale, the project is designed to transport approximately 50 billion cubic meters of gas per year, equivalent to roughly 1.77 trillion cubic feet annually in United States measurements. Over a 30-year cooperation framework, the total supply could reach about 53 trillion cubic feet, a figure significant enough to influence global supply and demand dynamics for decades. When factoring in short-term adjustments announced for the existing pipeline, the total gas flow from Russia to China upon project completion could exceed 100 billion cubic meters annually. This marks a substantial shift from the era when Russia relied primarily on European markets. The agreement's impact unfolds on two levels. On the technical and infrastructure side, the project poses challenges of construction across icy terrains, mountainous regions, and complex soil conditions, requiring advanced materials, compressors, and safety solutions for extreme temperatures. On the strategic and market side, it addresses long-term energy security. A land-based pipeline with multi-decade contracts reduces volatility tied to seaborne fuel prices while supporting electricity planning, industrialization, and a shift away from high-emission fuels. For the supplier, it ensures a stable market, offsetting losses from other regions. One key point is that many details are still being finalized. Pricing, financial mechanisms, and specific timelines for construction and operation have not yet been fully disclosed. However, the current phase focuses on establishing the legal and policy framework for this highly complex cross-border infrastructure project. Economically, the estimated 25 billion United States dollar investment is a significant challenge. Technically, standards for inspection, operational safety, and integration with existing systems will determine the pace of implementation. Overall, this development signals a pivot of energy flows toward Northeast Asia through a colossal land-based bridge. Announcing project progress amid the symbolic atmosphere of the Victory Parade underscores strong political commitment and a clear message about long-term strategic priorities. If it stays on track, Power of Siberia 2 will not only provide a substantial supply for industrial growth and urbanization, but also serve as a critical link in the region's emerging energy infrastructure network. Power of Siberia 2 is not just a commercial contract, it's a global infrastructure challenge of unprecedented scale. The pipeline, stretching approximately 2,800 kilometers, nearly 1,740 miles, starts at the vast gas fields on Siberia's Yamal Peninsula, crosses through Mongolian territory, and connects directly to China's enormous consumption network. With a design capacity of 50 billion cubic meters per year, equivalent to 1.77 trillion cubic feet, this pipeline ranks among the world's largest gas transportation projects. Notably, this volume equates to roughly 40 million tons of liquefied natural gas annually. For context, that's close to half of China's liquefied natural gas imports in 2024. This means Power of Siberia 2 alone could significantly reduce reliance on costly and market-volatile seaborne liquefied natural gas. Russia, in turn, taps into the immense reserves of Yamal. Previously planned primarily for exports to Europe, constructing a project of this magnitude presents countless challenges. Much of the pipeline traverses permafrost regions, where frozen ground is prone to seasonal cracking. Materials must withstand extreme cold, and welding systems need to ensure absolute integrity. As the pipeline crosses Mongolia, it must navigate high mountain ranges and harsh climatic conditions, requiring sophisticated engineering solutions. These factors contribute to an estimated investment cost of 25 billion United States dollars, reflecting both the complexity and the monumental scope of the project. Compared to major energy projects in the United States, such as the Gulf Coast Liquefied Natural Gas Complex or the Alaska Liquefied Natural Gas Project, Power of Siberia 2 offers greater stability. Liquefied natural gas relies on shipping, fluctuating freight costs, and liquefaction expenses, whereas a pipeline enables a continuous gas flow with lower long-term operational costs. This advantage positions the project as a giant underground machine with profound strategic value. Stable operation over 30 years requires compressor stations positioned along the route to maintain constant pressure for moving such an immense volume. Every component must meet stringent safety standards, as any failure could directly impact the energy security of both Russia and China. Power of Siberia 2 is thus seen as both a complex engineering feat and a strategic symbol. If executed on schedule, it will demonstrate humanity's ability to master massive energy infrastructure in extreme natural conditions, while solidifying the pipeline's role as a critical link in the evolving global energy network. For decades, Europe was the top buyer of Russian gas, accounting for over 70% of export revenue. However, statistics show that since 2022, Russian gas sales to the European Union have plummeted by approximately 90% compared to pre-crisis levels. Moreover, the European Union aims to completely halt Russian gas imports by the end of 2027. This effectively closes a door that once sustained Gazprom and Russia's economy. Against this backdrop, China emerges as the only replacement market with sufficient scale. With an annual consumption exceeding 21 trillion cubic feet, China is the ideal destination for Russia's pivot. Power of Siberia 1, operational since 2019, laid the groundwork by supplying 38 billion cubic meters annually. Now, Power of Siberia 2 is expected to offset the massive revenue losses from Europe. However, behind the grandiose agreement lies a challenging reality. Gazprom, Russia's state-owned energy giant once dubbed a cash machine, faces severe financial strain. The company's cash reserves have dwindled from roughly 2 trillion rubles in 2022 to just 537 billion rubles by mid-2025. Gazprom's stock plummeted after the Power of Siberia 2 announcement, reflecting investor concerns that this is merely a memorandum of understanding, not a concrete gas purchase contract. Strategically, Russia has few options left. With Europe closed, the United States imposing sanctions, and the global liquefied natural gas market fraught with risks, China stands as the sole lifeline. This weakens Russia's negotiating position, as Beijing could push for lower prices to maximize its advantage. Nevertheless, for Moscow, securing a stable buyer for the next 30 years outweighs achieving an optimal price. Power of Siberia 2 is thus both a lifeline and a gamble. Russia is betting on an enduring partnership with China to ensure a market for its vast Siberian gas reserves. If successful, this will mark a complete economic pivot from Europe to Asia, cementing a milestone in the history of the global energy industry. China is currently the world's second-largest consumer of natural gas, with a total demand of approximately 600 billion cubic meters, annually equivalent to over 21 trillion cubic feet. The majority of this gas fuels electricity generation, industrial production, and urban heating. As the economy continues to grow and the need for cleaner energy alternatives to coal increases, natural gas plays an increasingly critical role. This is precisely why Beijing has a keen interest in Power of Siberia 2. Calculations suggest that once Power of Siberia 2 is completed, alongside Power of Siberia 1 in the Far East route, the total gas supply from Russia to China could exceed 100 billion cubic meters per year, equivalent to nearly 1/5 of China's domestic demand. This volume would position Russia as China's top gas supplier, surpassing Turkmenistan and liquefied natural gas imports from Qatar, Australia, and the United States. The most obvious benefit for China is access to affordable and stable gas. During negotiations, Russia aimed for a price of approximately 260 to 280 United States dollars per 1,000 cubic meters, equivalent to 7.4 to 8 United States dollars per million British thermal units. However, China has pushed for a significantly lower price of around 120 to 130 United States dollars per 1,000 cubic meters, nearly half of Russia's target. The pressure lies in Russia's urgent need for a buyer, while China has multiple alternative sources, giving Beijing a strong upper hand in price negotiations. Beyond cost, importing gas via pipeline reduces China's reliance on seaborne liquefied natural gas. Each year, China imports roughly 70 to 80 million tons of liquefied natural gas, accounting for over 40% of global trade. However, liquefied natural gas prices are volatile, dependent on port infrastructure, and vulnerable to international disruptions. Pipelines from Russia offer a stable supply with lower market risks. This is also a strategic, long-term move. As China aims to reduce coal's share in its energy mix and increase natural gas usage, a 30-year contract ensures a reliable supply, making energy planning more predictable. With a capacity equivalent to 40 million tons of liquefied natural gas annually, Power of Siberia 2 could replace nearly half of China's liquefied natural gas imports in 2024. In essence, while Russia views this project as a lifeline, China emerges as the big winner. Affordable, stable, and long-term gas supplies not only secure Beijing's energy needs, but also strengthen its negotiating power with other global market partners. The emergence of Power of Siberia 2 not only reshapes the balance between Russia and China, but also poses a direct challenge to the liquefied natural gas market, where the United States holds a leading position. As of 2024, the United States exported approximately 86 million tons of liquefied natural gas, accounting for over 20% of global trade. China, the largest buyer of international liquefied natural gas, imported about 78 million tons in the same year. This is a market Washington has relied on to drive growth for numerous new liquefied natural gas projects in Texas, Louisiana, and Alaska. However, Power of Siberia 2 changes the entire landscape. With a capacity equivalent to 40 million tons of liquefied natural gas per year, this pipeline could meet nearly half of China's liquefied natural gas import needs. Once the pipeline delivers a stable gas flow, Beijing may significantly reduce its purchases from the international liquefied natural gas market. This means American exporters stand to lose a critical portion of their most promising customer base. The impact extends beyond trade to strategic investments. Numerous American liquefied natural gas projects are in the capital-raising phase, with a projected additional capacity of over 70 million tons per year by the early 2030s. However, if China, the largest buyer, loses interest, the ability to secure long-term contracts will weaken, risking delays or financial inefficiencies. On a global level, this shift creates a two-pole competition. On one side are massive pipelines connecting Russia to China, ensuring low-cost and stable supplies. On the other is the liquefied natural gas market led by the United States, Qatar, and Australia, which faces higher costs and price volatility due to transportation. Competition will intensify, especially as other Asian economies like India, South Korea, and Japan seek alternative sources while China locks in long-term supplies from Russia. For the United States, this challenge doesn't spell immediate defeat. Europe and Southeast Asia still have significant liquefied natural gas demand. However, losing an edge in China, the world's top consuming market, will undoubtedly weaken America's liquefied natural gas export dominance in the long term. Power of Siberia 2 is thus not just an infrastructure project, but also an indirect blow to Washington's ambitions of global energy leadership. Power of Siberia 2 is far more than just a gas pipeline. It's a pivotal force in reshaping the structure of cooperation and connectivity across the Asia-Europe region. The pipeline is designed to traverse Mongolia, transforming this nation of 3.4 million people into a golden link in the new energy axis. For Ulaanbaatar, the project brings not only substantial transit fees estimated at hundreds of millions of United States dollars annually, but also strengthens Mongolia's strategic position between its two powerful neighbors. The agreement signing during the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit amplifies its symbolic weight. Russia and China deliberately chose this moment to send a clear message. Major Asia-Europe economies are ready to expand energy cooperation despite pressures and sanctions from the West. Alongside this, over 20 bilateral agreements in trade, investment, and infrastructure were also signed, underscoring that this is not a standalone deal but part of a broader, long-term strategy. From a global perspective, this new pipeline poses a challenge to the energy alliance led by the United States and Europe. If Europe was once the primary destination for Russian gas through the Nord Stream system, the focus has now fully shifted eastward. With vast supplies locked into the Chinese market, Russia's return to Europe is virtually impossible. This means the European Union must seek long-term alternatives, from American and Qatari liquefied natural gas to renewable energy sources. Moreover, Power of Siberia 2 establishes a new energy axis stretching from Russia's Arctic regions through Mongolia to northern China's industrial hubs. This axis bolsters the strategic standing of all three nations while opening prospects for supporting infrastructure projects, including railways, compressor stations, and industrial zones tied to the energy supply network. For the West, this serves as a reminder that the balance of energy power is no longer centered in the Atlantic. Russia and China are forging an alliance built on long-term mutual interests, with Mongolia as the critical bridge. While it's not yet a new world order, Power of Siberia 2 stands as evidence of a shifting regional structure, with energy as the cornerstone of connectivity. Power of Siberia 2 opens a massive opportunity, but comes with significant risks for both Russia and China. On the opportunity side, Russia secures a stable buyer for at least 30 years, with an annual volume of 50 billion cubic meters, equivalent to over 1.77 trillion cubic feet. For a nation that has lost nearly its entire European market, this is a strategic lifeline, ensuring sustained revenue for its gas industry. For China, the pipeline bolsters energy security, replacing nearly 40 million tons of liquefied natural gas annually, significantly reducing reliance on volatile maritime routes. However, the risks are equally clear. First, there's the financial challenge. The pipeline's estimated construction cost is 25 billion United States dollars, while Gazprom's financial reserves are severely depleted, dropping from roughly 2 trillion rubles in 2022 to just 537 billion rubles by mid-2025. This raises questions about whether Russia can self-fund the project or will need to rely on loans and partnerships with China, potentially weakening Moscow's negotiating leverage. Second, there's the risk of fluctuating demand. While China currently consumes about 600 billion cubic meters of gas annually, growth may slow in the 2030s as the country accelerates development of renewable and nuclear energy. If gas demand declines, a 30-year contract could leave China with excess supply, forcing price renegotiations or reduced import volumes. Third, technical and environmental risks loom large. The pipeline must cross permafrost and high mountain ranges, requiring constant maintenance. Any potential incidents could disrupt an energy supply chain worth tens of billions of dollars annually. In summary, Power of Siberia 2 is both a lifeline for Russia and a strategic advantage for China. Yet, it's also a high-stakes gamble, where the line between success and failure hinges on financing, technology, and the unpredictable shifts in global energy demand over the next decade. Power of Siberia 2 stands as a testament to the scale and ambition of modern energy infrastructure. With a capacity of 50 billion cubic meters of gas per year, equivalent to nearly 1.8 trillion cubic feet, in a 30-year contract, the project will rank among the largest pipelines ever built. Its cumulative total of over 50 trillion cubic feet of gas underscores its long-term impact on the global market. For Russia, this is a critical opportunity to maintain stability in its gas industry amid dramatic shifts in traditional markets. The new pipeline efficiently taps into Siberia's vast gas fields, ensuring sustainable revenue for years to come. For China, the benefits lie in securing an affordable and stable supply, supporting economic growth, expanding industrial production, and easing reliance on coal. The impact extends beyond bilateral ties. Power of Siberia 2 is set to reshape global gas supply allocation, as a significant portion of China's demand will be met through long-term pipelines rather than liquefied natural gas imports from the international market. This could disrupt expansion plans for other liquefied natural gas export projects and redefine energy investment trends in the coming decade. Alongside its benefits, the project faces substantial challenges. Financing requires an investment of tens of billions of United States dollars, while construction spans permafrost and complex mountainous terrain. Ensuring safe operations over the 30-year contract is a major task, as any incident could directly affect an energy supply chain worth tens of billions of dollars annually. Overall, Power of Siberia 2 marks a new milestone in international energy infrastructure cooperation. If executed on schedule, it will be more than just a gas pipeline. It will symbolize the ability to build massive, enduring projects with decades-long impact. This is why observers call it one of the most significant energy agreements of the 21st century. What do you think about this deal? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit subscribe to stay updated on the latest insights into technology, national strategies, and innovations shaping the future. Top 10 Discoveries Official will be back with untold stories, projects that push boundaries, and quiet revolutions with global reach. See you in the next video.